Well, former President Donald Trump is preparing for his party convention. It's going to happen next week, but he's also doing something interesting. He is distancing himself from some work done on his behalf. Over the weekend, Trump posted on Truth Social, saying that he has nothing to do with Project 2025. Have you heard of this? It's an exhaustive set of policy recommendations put together by the conservative group, the Heritage Foundation, as well as other conservative organizations. It lays out a complete overhaul of the federal government and a consolidation of power for a would-be Republican president. So CBS News Chief Washington correspondent Major Garrett is joining me now to talk a little bit more about this. I'm so glad you're here because people started asking me about this Project 2025, and then most of the information that I saw popping up was on social media, in memes and stuff like that. So let's just start with the basics, right? What is Project 2025 and what is it not?
So in one sense, Anne-Marie, it's something old and something new. What is the something old part? Well, the Heritage Foundation created a book called Mandate for Leadership in 1980. It was a policy document for then incoming President Ronald Reagan, and a formidable and important one. Reagan often referred to that Mandate for Leadership book as a guide to how he approached both personnel and policy in the early years of the Reagan administration. Essentially, the Heritage Foundation, a think tank which also delves into politics, has put together something like Mandate for Leadership for every incoming administration. So that's the it's old part. What's the new part? The language is new, and the specificity, though not in name for President Trump, but clearly aligning itself very directly with Trumpist agenda. The language in the opening part of this book talks about cultural Marxism taking over America and the entire federal government weaponized against individual Americans. That kind of rhetoric is something you don't find in earlier iterations of Mandate for Leadership. And it is very Trumpian, and the policy recommendations are also Trumpian. Let me give you a couple of examples. Shift all focus of the Department of Homeland Security to border enforcement and deportation. Another example, turning the Environmental Protection Agency not into a federal agency on environmental protection necessarily, but someone who works with small business and states to manage and integrate their environmental policies, much less federal, much more state. Another example, basically firing all civil servants in the federal government and creating patronage loyalists to the incoming president. That's something that President Trump has talked about, and after the Supreme Court ruling, essentially giving the president wide authority. If anything that the president does is an official act, it creates the idea that loyalists for an incoming Trump administration would do everything and anything he said he would do. And if it's an official act, it could be legally defensible. That creates a kind of anxiety